First of all, I would like to thank Rabbi Portnoy for giving me the opportunity to speak as a survivor of the Shoah, as not many are left. My family was Orthodox Ger Hasidim. When the war broke out in Poland on Friday, 1st of September 1939, I was 17 years old and lived with my family at home in a place called Sosnovec. This was about 5 miles from Katowice and about 40 miles from Auschwitz. The Jewish population was about 28,000. Total population of the town was 130,000. Various rumors were circulating about the atrocities the Germans committed to the Jews. Everybody was very worried, downhearted as to what was going to happen. It was terrible. The family decided to go to Pilz, a small town where a relative of ours lived. My father refused to go there and said that he has to look after the factory, with a small brush factory. We employed about 10 people. We managed to hire a horse cart and put all necessary belongings on. After 4 hours, we arrived there. By Wednesday, we decided to go back, that the Germans already occupied a very large part of Poland. Sosnovec was already occupied the day after we left. When we arrived back home, we found that the synagogue, which was next to our apartment block where we lived, was burned down. We went into our home. I could not recognize my father, as I've never seen him. I've never seen my father without a beard. All Jews had to shave off their beards. The first atrocity on the 4th of September, about 5 p.m., went into various houses and they assembled in a field about 10,000 Jews. Then they selected about 30 of the most respected Orthodox leaders to the community in Shoah. This was a reprisal for 4 German soldiers found dead the night before. In Benjin, which was about 4 miles from Sosnovec, with a Jewish community of about 22,000, the synagogue was surrounded by Germans with 7 machine guns. 300 Jews were forced to go into the synagogue and were told to pray. The Germans then set the buildings on fire. Some of the Jews tried to get out to save themselves, only to be shot there and then. Jews were shot daily, for no reason at all. White armbands were introduced at the start of May. Jews were allowed to live only in certain areas of the town. Trains for Jews only were introduced. About April 1941 saw the expulsion of 5,000 Jews from the town of Auschwitz, which they lived there before the war. The Jews of Sosnovec and surrounding towns had to accommodate them. The reason for the expulsion to start building the concentration camp. Food rations were distributed, but there was not enough food for everybody. Our brush factory was confiscated, and a German manager continued to run the factory and made brushes for the army. My father was made to sweep the floor, clean the toilets, and so on. Daily the Germans took away men and women to the camps. About March 1942, the Germans ordered all Jews should leave their homes, old, young, disabled, to assemble in a large field. About 23,000 Jews were there. My family as well. There must have been 1,000 Germans with machine guns surrounding us. We were kept there 3 days and 3 nights. The rain never stopped, as if the heavens were waiting for us. Then a selection started. Disabled people, elderly men and women, and lots of others. They were all sent to Auschwitz. The rest were sent home. That was when my mother was sent away. We never saw her again. All this was going on, and the Jewish homes, whilst all this was going on, and the Jewish homes were empty, the Poles, with sacks on their backs, went in and took whatever they wanted. In every home, at least one family member or more had been missing, had been sent to Auschwitz. In the streets, you could find little children searching and crying, "Mommy, Daddy, where are you? Where are you?" To no avail. Hours later, German trucks were driving around, picking up those unfortunate children and sent them to Auschwitz too. As the time went by, life was becoming more difficult. People were dying on the streets, from beatings, from hunger, and from illnesses. There was hardly any medication. And yet, people did not lose their religious faith. There were still prayers going on 3 times a day, while someone kept watch outside. To congregate more than 3 people in one place, the penalty was death. In November 1942, 14 people were found praying in a cellar. They are taken out and shot in the marketplace. There was one in Luchem Korn and his son were hanged in the center of town. And a large number of Jews were made to watch. The excuse was, for hanging them, they were accused of possessing false utility labels. The Germans took over a large building and confiscated all sewing machines in town to produce clothing for the German army. There were about 1,000 machines. I was working as a sewing machine mechanic. We were working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. By the beginning of 1943, the Jewish population of Sosnowiec had shrunk to about 8,000. In March 1943, they closed the factory and sent a lot of the people from the factory away. I was sent to a camp called Markstadt. For the next 3 months, I was sent to various camps, one being Graditz. About 3,000 inmates were there. Daily we were sent out of the camp in groups of 150 men. With 30 soldiers with machine guns to do various jobs, building air raid shelters, air shelter roads, etc. I was fortunate, being an engineer, to work at the Krupp's factory in Reichenbach. The day the camp started, there was a wake-up call at 4 a.m. from the Schulmelder. Up. If you were too slow, it would pull you down with a 2-inch diameter wooden stick from the bunk. Couples running around the bush like wild animals. Anybody in the way got clouted. You had half an hour to shower, collect your portion of bread, margarine, and black coffee. You got it. And 1 kilo loaf of bread for 4 inmates. You cut it into 4 portions and weighed each portion by a homemade set of scales to make sure everybody is exactly the same, not a gram more or a gram less. This had to last a full day. This was eaten right away. The ending was so great. But for him, you had to be on the Appellplatz for roll call. About 3,000 men were standing for 1.5 hours in freezing cold, -28. After being counted, we walked for about 6 kilometers to a railway siding, where the cattle wagons were waiting for us. We traveled for 1.5 hours. Eventually, we arrived at our place of work in Rachbach. I and 3 other men, all engineers, were being marched to the Krupsworks, with 4 soldiers with machine guns watching us. Then we were handed over to the German masters. By 6:30 p.m. we started our journey back. By the time we got our heads down on our bunks after roll call, collecting our soup in long queues, it was 10:30 p.m. Many men could not take it. At the time we heard that the ghetto in Sosnovets was liquidated. Those who resisted were shot on the spot. The others were sent to Auschwitz. So the rest of my family must have been sent there too. About February 44, troubles broke out. The whole camp was closed. No medication, no help. There were some inmates who were doctors and tried to help as much as possible. Within about 3 weeks, out of about 3,000 men, only about 350 survived. But for the grace of God, I happened to survive. I happened to be on the 4th level of the shelf-like bunks. Suddenly, also took ill with high fever and hallucination. I didn't know how many days. I was lying there. When I came round, I started to try to sit up. The whole place started to go round with dizziness. Eventually, I sat up. I was completely naked and in a mess. I thought I had better go down to the wash barracks and clean myself up and find some clothes. It took me half an hour to get down as I was so weak. I looked at my hands and my body. I was a skeleton. I could count every bone in my body. When I went into the wash barracks, I found that a large number of pallets with naked bodies on them, stacked 6 one way and 6 the other way. The ones who survived 3 weeks after were sent to a camp called Panama. Again, as an engineer, I worked with foreign labor, French and Czechs. One particular Czech girl brought some with me daily. She left them on a corner, which was very handy. In September 44, we were sent to Auschwitz. This was extremely frightening. I was shocked. We arrived in cattle trucks at midnight. When the doors slid open, the quietness and the stillness gave me the shudders. There was a heavy smell of carbonic. Suddenly, in front of your eyes, you see for miles and miles barbed electric wires. On every 10 meters, large bulbs lit up many, many barracks as far as your eyes can see. Far away in the distance, on 4 sides, there were large flames coming out of the chimneys, without realizing that these were the crematoriums. Uniformed assessment with sticks and dogs screaming, "Raus, raus, raus!" When we got out of the wagons, they lined us up to be counted. They were also helped by a few of the Auschwitz inmates with blue and white striped clothing. We were put in an empty barrack. The following day, there was a selection. Some had to go to the right and some to the left. My group, which was to the right, went to the infamous shower room, and we were showered. exhumed, taken to our block. And the others, they were never again, they were never seen again. They had been cast in the same shower. It was Yom Kippur, and I was there, and most of us were fasting and davening. Some men knew by heart certain prayers, and we followed them because we didn't have any sword, any muscle. One inmate had to stand the guard. I got friendly with one of the old inmates. We got talking about the place. And he said to me, "Chaim, over there is a block with about 122 children. They get lots of food and toys, all they need. And I can't understand why they're doing that." 12 days later, we could see these happy faces on lorries being driven to the gas chambers. One day they were selecting engineers for an aircraft assembly plant. I immediately volunteered to get out of this hell, and after various tests I was fortunate to be selected. After 3 days and nights on the cattle trucks in terrible conditions, many died on the way. We arrived at a place called Shoah. That was Tir again. We were assembling and building Yankee planes. About the beginning of March 1945, the Allies were getting closer, and they closed the camp. We marched about 20 days toward Buchenwald. We arrived in Buchenwald the 10th of April, about 8 o'clock in the evening. We were told by a number of inmates there that in the last week, every day, transports of about 300 to 400 inmates were sent out of the camp. On the way, they were all machine gunned and killed. The following morning, 11th of April, roll call was called, and we were being counted, ready to leave the camp. Suddenly, a number of American planes appeared on the horizon, and all the German guards started to run. 2 hours later, American tanks drove through the gates. Soldiers were shouting, "You're free, you're free," we couldn't believe it. We were suddenly completely dazed as the tanks drove in and the soldiers were throwing lots of large blocks of chocolate. We finished them off very quickly. The following days, most of us couldn't eat anything. Had they arrived that day later, I wouldn't be here. A number of days later, lying on my bunk, trying to realize the consequences of the last few years of my life, suddenly inmates shouted, Chaim Ferster, your sister is looking for you." It was my younger sister, meine Stern, standing about 30 years away.